Hello guys, welcome back to RJ Coding Tips. In today's video, we are going to learn how to connect the front end and the back end of a web application using Firebase with the authentication of Google. So let's start the video. Recently, one of our friends suggested to make a video on how to connect the front end and the back end. So we are going to learn how to connect the front end and the back end in this video. So first of all, we are going to go to our browser and search for Node.js download. So we will use the Node.js for the development, and we are going to use React with the help of JavaScript and create our project. So come to this link and click on download. And if you are using any other environment, then you can select that. For me, I'm using Windows. So I'm going to click here and then I'm going to save it. After that, we are going to run it. So the download is finished and it says, welcome to Node.js setup wizard, but I have already installed it, so I don't need to install it again. But for you, you must install it. Now I'm going to just close it and click on finish. For you, you must continue the process and click on the prompt and you can just install it according to the given instructions. Okay. After that, we are going to create a folder. So I have here this main folder. I'm going to go inside this main folder and I'm going to open it in terminal. So here we are going to create a project. For that project, after installing the Node, you can just write this Node and you can see that welcome to Node. If this output shows, then you have installed the Node properly. But if there is any error, kindly let me know so that I can help you out. So I'm going to open it again, and inside this, I'm going to write npm create void@latest, and I'm going to create the project inside this main folder. So I'm going to use this dot. If you don't want to create inside this folder, then you can also do this, remove the dot, and you can create a new folder also. But I'm going to do it inside this main folder. So I'm going to add this dot and click on enter. So it will create a project for us, and you can select any type of framework, but I'm going to use React and then JavaScript. You can also use any other type of script like the TypeScript also, but for me, I'm going to use JavaScript. So select that, and now I'm going to type npm install. So this will install all the necessary dependencies for our project. So you can see here are some files and folders. We are going to modify it so that we can set up our backend and frontend. So it will take some time. Let's wait. After that, all the dependencies are installed. Now just run this command npm run dev. So you can see this localhost. So just click on that and it will open in our browser. So this is the main page of our project. So we are going to modify it. Now come back to the Explorer and open this with our Visual Studio Code editor. I'm going to drag and drop it. And here you can see the files and the folders. Now I'm going to go to this index.html and then I'm going to change the title to connect front end and backend. So this is the title I have changed, and here we can see our title is changed. Now just leave it, and then we are going to delete some files and folders. You can delete these assets, remove this SVG file, we don't need that, and you can remove this app.css and index.css also, and just leave the others. Okay, so when we reload this, it will give some error. So we are going to fix that and start the development process. So come to the editor, and inside this app.jsx, we are going to remove these import statements. Okay. And then this also. So just write return, and then inside the div, we are going to write app. And inside this main.jsx, we are going to remove this import index also. So here we can see that our web page is showing and there is no error, and we can see this app work. So we are going to add the styling and also the components so that we can connect our front end and the back end. Inside this src folder, we are going to create another folder called components. And in this component, we are going to create a file called login.jsx. So this will be our login component. So in this login component, we are going to write rafce so that we can get the default template of our login file. So here we get the login component, and do the same for another home component. So I'm going to write home.jsx, and inside this also I'm going to write rafce, and then we get this. Now these are the files we are going to modify. Are going to add another src here. So this will be our configs. So this will be our backend path. So it will connect the APIs with the Firebase and with the authentication from the Google. So I'm going to create a file called auth.js, and we are going to set up our Firebase in our browser, and we are going to get the imports from that. So these are all the folders and the files we are going to use, and I'm going to use 2 images. You can download it from my GitHub page also, and you can go get this code also. But I'm going to create another folder inside this public with the name assets. So this will store our files, images, and other files. So inside our folder, I have this public and then assets, and then I'm going to paste these 2 images with Google and login. So this will be displayed in our web page. Now these are the files in the folders structure. Now come to the browser and then search for Firebase. And then inside this Firebase, we are going to go and click on Get Started. And you must sign in with your Google account. After you have signed in, you can see this interface. I have this project with the Firebase configurations, but I'm not going to use it now. I'm going to make a new project and teach you how to do it. So click on this Add Project, and I'm going to type a name backend. So continue, and then we don't need this Google Analytics for now. So just disable that and create project. After creating this project, we are going to wait a few seconds. So it is saying that our project is now ready. So click on continue, and then you will be able to see this interface. Now we are going to add an app. We are going to select this web, and I am going to register this app with the name my backend. So register app, and then now we are going to use this npm install Firebase. Okay, so just click on that, come to our VS Code editor, open the terminal, and then just type or paste the command. This will install the Firebase dependency so that we can connect the backend with the Firebase. Just wait for some minutes or some seconds, and then we are good to go. Now, here is the Firebase SDK and the configurations, but I'm not going to show it to you guys. You will be able to get this for your own. Now just copy it and click on continue to console. Okay, so now come to the code editor, and in this auth.js file, paste it. Okay, I'm not going to show this to you guys for now. but we are going to make some changes to it. For that, I'm going to remove this and this. So come back to the browser, and inside this project overview, click on this build and then authentication. And inside this authentication, we are going to click on get started. So this will be the type of login which we can use in our web page. But for now, we are only going to use sign in with Google. So for that, we are going to click on add new provider, and then we are going to click on Google. So we are going to use this Google, and for that, click on enable, and then this will be our project ID, and then this will be our email. So just click on save. After some time, we will be able to use our Google authentication. Most of the work in our browser are finished, so we can close that, and we can close this too, and we are going to set up our project. So come back to the editor, and inside this app.jsx, we are going to import some dependencies. For that, we are going to install them again. Come back to the terminal and then install npm install React Router DOM. So this React Router DOM will help us to go forward and backward and go from a link to another link, from the login component to the home component, so that we are redirected when we log in and log out. So we have installed this React Router DOM. After that, we are going to write import and then browser router from React Router DOM. So code is auto completed, and we are going to write as router routes and then route. So these are the three functions which we are going to use to connect the web pages. After that, we are going to import the home component, import home. So when I click on home, you can see this code suggestion. Just click on tab and we are good to go. And if you want this type of auto suggestions, then you can click on extensions and search for React. So you can install these native snippets. So when you install this, you will be able to get the code completion. So we are going to come back to our app file, and after that we are going to import the login component also. So just we have imported our home and login. Now inside this return, we are going to remove this app, and then we are going to write router. So just do it like this. So this will be our starting point and the ending point. So inside this, we are going to write app. This will be our class name, and inside this app, we are going to write routes. So this will be the routes. When we click on the login, it will go to the login component, and when we click on the home, it will go to the home. So inside this routes, we are going to add this route path. Route and path will be this slash, and then element will be our home component. Okay, just close this and this. Replicate it and change this to login. And then we are going to change this also to login. So this is our main app code. Come back to the web page, and we are seeing this home because we are already in the home.jsx file. But now we are going to make some changes in these files, and we will see the result. Before all of this, we are going to write import get Firestore. So this will help us to store the details, user details. From this will be Firebase and Firestore. And then we are going to write import Google Auth provider. This Google Auth provider will provide us the authentication with the Google system. And then we are going to write get auth. This will be get from the Firebase and then auth. And then we are going to import another called get storage. So this get storage will get the user details and the information about the email so that we can display it in the web page. So we are going to write from Firebase and then storage. Okay, these are the imports, and then after this, just after this app, we are going to write export const. We are going to export it and use it in the login and the home component. So export database, which will get from the get Firestore and then app. And then we are going to export another called auth, which will get the authentication from the Google. And then we are going to export another called provider, which is the authentication provider. This will be new and Google Auth provider, and then export const storage, which will get the get storage, and then app. Now I have added the configuration here, but I'm not going to show it, so we can close this. Most of the work in this configs are finished. Now we are going to import from the auth to our login component and home component. For that, go to the login component, and we can now start using import. Use navigate from the router DOM, and then import sign in with pop-up. So this sign in with pop-up will be got from the Firebase and then auth. After that, we are going to import auth and then provider. These are the things we just exported from our auth configurations. So we are going to write this configs and then auth. So that's for now. Now we are going to write inside this login component, this login function, we are going to write set is auth. That means, is the authorization set or not? So we will discuss this later. And then inside this, we are going to write const navigate equals use navigate. We are going to target this function and we are going to navigate through our web pages. After that, we are going to create a sign-in function, const sign in. In this function, we are going to get the sign-in with pop-up, and then we are going to provide this auth and then provider. And then we are going to give the result, and then set is auth to true so that the authentication is true, and then we will be able to see the images. After setting this authentication is true, that means after login, we are going to get the username and the profile picture from our Google account. So we are going to get this from the server and we are going to store it in our local storage. So we are going to get it as local storage.item set item, and then is auth, and then it must be true. And again, local storage dot set item username, and then we are going to store it as a JSON file. So streetfy, and then we are going to get the result from the user and display name. Again, replicate the code, and then we are going to remove this username and we are going to get the photo, and then we are going to convert utilization and stringify, and then convert this into photo URL. Okay, And then after that, we are going to navigate through our home page. For that, we are going to use this slash. Okay, if this works, okay, so there's an error. Okay, let me just do it. Okay, so if this works, so there will be no error. But if there is some error, so we will catch the error. Okay, if error occurs, then we are going to catch it. So inside this catch function, we are going to write console.log or console.error, and then we are going to write error signing in, and we are going to get the error. And okay, it must be a double bracket, and do this here and add this here. Now the errors are gone. And then after this, we are going to define another variable with the variable name as username, and that we are going to write user. So this will be changed, but we are going to give it a fixed value so that we can see if any error occurs or not. So for now, we are not seeing anything. It's because we are still developing our login component. When we finish the development, we will be able to see the web page. So remove this div, and we are going to write login component. And then inside this login component, we are going to write login card. And inside this login card, we are going to add an image. And we are going to get the image from our login.png. So this file is here, and this login, and then after this image, we are going to write an h2 with the class name font semi-bold, and we are going to write welcome, and we are going to add this username. Okay, and after this, we are going to write login. So this will be inside the p tag. So let me just do this. And after this p tag, we are going to define another class name called google.btn. And when we click on this, we are going to add an on-click function. We are going to call this sign in. So when the user clicks on the button, it will be redirected to this sign in function here. So after this div, so inside this div, we are going to add another image where we can write assets and google.png. After this image, we are going to write a p tag with the class name btn tags, and then we are going to write sign in with Google. Okay, so that's pretty much of our login component. So you can ignore this error because this is just saying that React is defined but never used, because we are not using this again. So just ignore that. After this login component, go to the home component, and we are going to write some codes. So after this, we are going to write import use navigate, and then import, and then auth. Here we can see this auth. We are going to get this auth in our home component, and then we are going to write sign out from Firebase auth. Okay, and then inside this home component, we are going to write const username equals, this will be the stored username and the stored photo in our local storage. So we are going to get that. So we are going to parse it, and then local storage, and then get item, and then we are going to get the username name. Then replicate it, and then we are going to get the photo URL, and then inside this we are going to get the photo URL. Okay, and then we are going to define this navigate, and then we are going to use navigate. Okay, and then just like this login, we use the sign in function. We are going to write sign out function. Okay, so we are going to write const handle sign out. Okay, in this handle sign out, just let me write this. Okay, and then in this sign out function, we are going to write local storage dot clear. So this will clear our local storage, the photos and the name, username, and the user credentials. So it will clear, and then sign out, and our authentication credentials will be signed out, and then it will go on this function here. Okay, so this will be dot, and then after signing out, we will navigate through our login page, and then we will reload our web page. Location dot reload. Okay, this is our function for signing out. Inside this return, this will return the main format of the HTML. So we are going to write dot app, and then inside this app we are going to write h1, and inside this h1 this will be a class name of font semi-bold, and this will be an h1 where I'm going to write welcome @ and this will be our username, and that is after this h1 I'm going to write an img. The source will be photo URL, and then this will be profile. You can ignore that also, and I'm going to add a button, and for that button I'm going to write class name logout. Okay, and then for this logout button I'm going to call this handle sign out function. Okay, so when I click on this button, I'm going to target this handle sign out, and then I'm going to write logout. Okay, that's the default home code, and this is the login component, and that's pretty much for this. Now come back to the web page. Okay, so guys, there's an error here. It must be store not throw get Firestore. Okay, and then this must be Firestore. Okay, so guys, I have removed the error, and we can see this is our welcome, and then this logout. So when I click on logout, this we can see, and when I click on sign in with Google, it must work. So I'm going to select and click enter. So when I click on this Google button, we can see this sign in with Google. Okay, so this is the pop-up, and when I click on sign in, we can see that we are redirected to our welcome page, but we need manually to do it. So add some codes also with some parent component to manage all these files, and we will see our username here and our profile here. So I'm going to log out, and we are going to make some styling here also. So come back to the code editor, just close this, and inside this src we are going to create a file called style.css. Okay, inside the style.css I'm going to write some CSS properties, and then width of 100%, height of 100 VH, and then a background of linear gradient with 45 degree so that it will be displayed diagonally, and then this color code, and then the other color code, Now we are going to link this CSS with our app.jsx. So come here and we are going to just import style.css and then this. So we can see this beautiful gradient color effect in our web page. We are going to style this icons and images. For that, come back and then in our style file, we are going to add the following. So we are going to target this first, this login component. So, and this was the display flags, align item center, justify content center, and height of 100 bits. Okay, and then after that we are going to go to this login card and then give the styling of display flags, direction of column, and then align item center, justify content center, depth of 3 rem, width of 440 pixels, and then a border of 1 pixels solid with this color code. And then border radius of 10 pixels, and I'm going to add a backdrop filter, blur of 5 pixels, and then this background color will be of this 0 or 55 to 55 to 55 and then 0.2. Okay, we are going to write IMC and width of 70 pixels, and then display will be flags, align item center, justify content center, and then I'm going to add a margin of 10 pixels and also padding of 10 pixels. Okay, now we can see this design in the middle of our web page. So it is also responsive. Here you can see we can do like this. Now we are going to style this and this button also. We are going to target this where this font semi-bold. Okay, this font size. For this font semi-bold, we are going to write a font weight of 700 or 600. Okay, 600. After this font semi-bold, we are going to write this. We are going to target this button, this btn text, and also this logout. Okay, so we are going to write this and then we are going to target logout. Okay, so we are going to write cursor pointer and then a background of this color code, and then color we are going to change it to white, and then a margin bottom of 30 to 50 pixels and a padding of 10 pixels from all sides. Okay, so you can see this is beautifully designed, but now we are going to make some changes also. Now add this following codes: border radius of 5 pixels or let's say 10 pixels, outline will be none, and then font size will be 16 pixels and a font width of 400 pixels. Font width of 400. Let's add this also: border none. Okay, and we are going to target this. And for this login, we are going to target this P. Okay, this login. So we are going to just write P and then font width of bold and then a font size of 20 pixels. So it will be displayed bigger. Okay, so it's a little bit bigger now. So this is our designed for our login page, login component. Now, let's check if our home is complete or not. So I'm going to click on sign in with Google. I haven't styled this here. So come back and I'm going to check something here in our login component. I think there's some error. It's not an error, but some alignment with the icons. Okay. So I'm going to add div here because I want to add the button. Okay. So class name with Google icon wrapper. So this class name doesn't matter, but I'm going to insert this image here and then this p tag here. After this, Google icon wrapper. Okay. Now I'm going to click on this here. Okay, so it's working, but this Z alignment is not working for now. And inside this style, I'm going to write display of flags, line item center, justify content center. Okay, so it's aligned in the middle now. Now when I click on this Google or when I click on this button, it must work. But let's just change something here. Can we do this like this Google button and then set it here? If so, when I click on this Google or login, it won't work, but when I click on sign in with Google, it must work. Okay, so this is for now. And then for the home component, I think I have given this last name app. So come back to the style and where is it? And inside this, I'm going to add this dot app. So when I sign in with Google and go to our home page, we can see this like here. We are going to make this app of flex direction alarm. Okay. So we have this welcome and this profile, but we cannot see it. We're going to add a parent component and manage all the files. Click on logout and it is redirected here. Now close this styling and close this main, and we are going to create another component here, parent component .jsx, and just like the previous, we are going to write RAFC. Okay, we are going to export this parent component, and inside this parent component, we are going to write import, and this also import login from login, and then here before this return, I'm going to write const is auth and then set is auth. We are going to target the use step and then we are going to make it false. So they are not set true at first, but when we click on the login and the home, it will be true. So we are going to return this inside this div, just the login, and then set it auth will be set is auth. So this is our initial configuration for our login. Close this and come back to the app.jsx, and after this style, we are going to write import parent component from components and then parent component. Okay, before this return, we are going to write const and then is auth and then set is auth. They must be the same as the use state of false configuration, false. Now we are going to use this use effect, and then inside this effect, we are going to set it to true. So const dot is auth equals local storage dot get item and then is auth, and then if start is auth is true, then set is auth, then JSON dot parse, and then start is auth. Okay, then we have this and this, and after that we are going to just give the empty element. Okay, and we are going to make some changes here. When we click on is auth, then it will be a ternary condition like conditional statement, where it will first go to this home element if it is true, but if it is false, then it will go to, okay, I'm going to add this here and this here, format it, and then this. Now we are going to write this here, so it will target all the element here, and then we are going to write set is auth to set is auth. So that's pretty much for all of the codes. Now come back to the browser, reload it, and click on sign it with Google, and then after signing it, we can see that our username and our profile picture are displayed. So this is the basic steps for connecting our front end and back end. And if we want to add the components like the navbar, the footer, the body, then we can do it in this home section, and you can modify the code according to your needs. So when I click on logout, it will be redirected to our login. And when I click on login again, so it will try to log in with our account, and here, like this. I hope you guys understand this video. And for the sum up, the connection between the front end and the back end is completed. And if you want to host this website, so you can do that also. And this is the authentication using Google Authorization. But if you guys want to see more of this front end and back end stuffs, then comment down below so that I can create more new videos. And this is the basic concepts, but there are some more complex concepts like using the MongoDB, like MERN, using MongoDB, Express, React, and Node.js. So if you guys want the video on the topic, so comment down below. And if you guys see any error, then you can contact me also. So you can see there is no error in the console. That means your code is working just fine. If you see any error and you cannot troubleshoot, then reach me out. As a sum up, in today's video, we have learned how to connect the front end and the back end using Google Authorization, using the Firebase, and also learn how to design this beautiful web page. So if you guys want to learn this type of new videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and please like, share, and comment. And so if you guys want the code, then I'm going to leave the link in the description. And make sure you check out the Python Basics for Beginners course in Manipuri language. You can also follow the tutorial to become a Python developer. Also learn this website building techniques, tips, and tricks from me. So thank you for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.